If you're looking for a way to be able to create a client surge of new business, new sales, new growth, new revenue, you're going to love this segment here and now. Because are you at a place in time maybe where you're going through some ups and downs, like on a roller coaster, revenue, cash flow, whatever, or maybe you've just come up against a ceiling, you kind of hit a plateau? Well, I want to speak to the elephant in the room here, because this whole segment is all about helping you create a client surge in these uncertain times. In fact, the truth be told, literally, that you can do this anytime, right? When is now the best time? Anytime, right? So whether you're crushing it right now or whether you're on the roller coaster or maybe you've hit a plateau, this will work and it can work for you. So the key is to focus on how do you add value to your current and past clients, your current and past potential clients, right? What problems do you solve, right? So if you really get deep at this, a lot of times people focus on the product or the service that they have or the pricing that they've got or whatever. On the other hand, when you move the focus to the end user, to your clients, and focus on the problem you solve, depending on the problem you solve, people will pay you very well for that, right? And the key is then adding value. One of the simple formulas to look at whatever you offer is, how do I make this 10 times the value of the experience? We call it the BOAT, Breakthrough Outcome Transformation Experience. And then also, how do we give people the ability to go deeper, right? How many purchases have you made from a company like Apple, if you're an Apple fan, right? From their stuff to their phones to reorder phones, these devices that literally, used to be whatever, $100 device is now like $1,200 or $1,500 for people. It's literally a computer in your hands, right? Yet people get one every single year and are happy to do that because of extending the experience, extending the value, solving problems, simplifying, optimizing, etc. So let's talk about this. How can you show up and have 10 times value with your clients? Well, right now, here and now, in these crazy times, a couple of the key ways to be looking to do that is to be frequently involved with them, engage with them, and them engage with you. So how do you do that? It's showing up with frequency and consistency over time. I forget where I heard this quote. I believe it was in one of the first seminars I ever attended with my dad when I was 10 years old. It said 90% of success is showing up, right? So show up for your potential clients. And there are ways, I want to give you a handful of ways here in just a minute of what you can do right now, today, to be able to show up in a cool way, non-salesy, non-hypey, but show up in service frequently and consistently. So in fact, here they are. None of these are probably brand new, but it's like rethinking the thinking, right? It's going deeper. How do you go deeper with what you got? Squeezing the lemon. Jay Abraham wrote a great book, How to Get Everything Out of What You Got. So it's, let's think of Operation Outreach. Now, one of our clients in December, depending on when you're seeing this or experiencing it, this past December, hit a little bit of lull, and we talked through some things, and she got heavily engaged on top of her team doing a lot of this. And she essentially went through this. So proud of her, because where she hit a lull, she cascaded and had the next couple of months her very best months in company history, right? And you can do the same thing. And so for those that are eligible to be reached out to the ways we're talking about, obviously you got to be compliant and all those sorts of things, but texts get open 10 times what emails get opened in the equivalent and in the time frame. So if you're able and you have permission-based opportunities to text your potential clients or clients and reach out to them to get into a conversation to then talk to them about how you can solve their problem, or your team does that, and that's a huge opportunity that a lot of people are missing out on. Reaching out by the phone. So many people have become fascinated with automation. Hopefully you haven't if you've been following us for a minute, because I've been talking about for over a decade, most people automate themselves right out of business. It creates laziness. They think that it's just the automation. No, we call it humanize, optimize, personalize, and that's why these 5 things listed here, or these 4 things, are so incredibly important. So text, phone, reach out and say hi. Hey, I was thinking about you. Record if you have a ability to, hey, I was thinking about you and I'd love to, get in and see what you're focused on right now. I'd love to, find out what, challenges you're having. By the way, this, somebody might say, well, does this work beyond consultants and experts and people in the information type business or education type business? The answer is yes. We've got service business owners, we've got doctors, functional medicine clinics, and a whole lot more adapting these same principles, because again, you're not in a or you're not in the B2B business, you're not in the B2C, but you're in the person to person. So human being business. Let's be in the human being business. Let's just reach out and be a cool human being and check in on people and show them how you show up in service. Reach out to them by phone and check in with them. Email them, of course, continue, but do it outside of automations also. Like you can, almost take a concierge approach, right? If you stay at a, 5-star resort, they have the, the high humanized, optimized, personalized experience. And then the other one, which I slightly erased here, right, as we're doing this, is host regular gatherings. Now, that can mean different things to different people, but like one of our clients, they host a couple times a year, an event gathering for their community. Like in the last one they hosted, they had 300 people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are experts in filling events, and they don't put 300 people in an event, even if it's free. But they brought their community together, had 300 people attend. What is that? An opportunity to go deeper, build relationship, add value, create value, find out the problems, and offer solutions, right? And again, this works in the service business. We've worked in 180 different niche industries, and it can work for you. So host regular gathering. You can do these live, you can do it physical, you could do it virtual, and everything in between. Like, what would happen, do you think, if you did a pop-up to your prospects, potential clients, and your current clients and made something valuable that helped show them how you help them solve other problems? You hosted it and you have 3 people, 5 people, 7 people. There was a time in my career in the early 90s where I was hosting an event once to twice a day, every day, Monday through Saturday, and we'd have 2 people and 7 people and 100 people and 300 people and 12 people and 9 people, whatever. And it was all about creating an education-based model and then inviting them to move forward. How can you show up more frequent? And, now, can you automate a lot of this? Yes, you can. And so you use the automation to help support any of the goals you have. But I encourage you to look at what can you do in addition. Partners and referrers. Who are some partners that you have, right? Who are 2 people that you can think of right now that complement what you do? They don't necessarily completely compete with you, but I'll suggest to you that collaboration is the new currency. So there's people that we work with that are partners of ours who in some ways they do compete with us, but we don't look at it. We look at it more like co-opetition. And what if you did the same thing? If you're a service business and maybe you're an HVAC, electrical, etc., like some of our clients, and somebody that is a pool business. Well, what are they paying to acquire a lead? And if you can connect them to a relationship and open the door, there can be, so the key is to not look at it short term and not to look at it transactional, like in crisis mode. It's for the long term, right? So who are some partners? Who are some referrers? So I'm going to give you a quick example here of how, to be thinking about this. And this is one of hundreds that we've got. But one of the clients, I'm not going to mention the name. When clients work with us, they sign NDAs, but I'm going to give you the principles of it. Because the other thing that some people have a tendency to do when they're on a roller coaster is they go, I want to bring my prices down. And while that can be a strategy, I'm going to challenge you to be thinking bigger, much, much bigger, to be thinking, how do I add more value? How do I go higher? How do I not discount and add more value in my market with the relation and build new relationships? So for example, this particular client, before we started working, they had a goal to build out an education program. And at the time, they offered, their main thing was a $25,000 a year education program. And at the time we met and where we sat down to talk about their business, they had approximately 67 people in their membership. They had a $10,000 program, which was like a, hybrid event, whatever you want to call it, experience gathering, etc. And the year before we started working together, they had 15 people attend that besides their members, right? So hopefully you're tracking this. I'm going fairly quickly. When we sat down, we said, okay, well, what is the goal? Like, what is your target? This is a really important thing. What is your target for the quarter? What is your target for the month, right? And his goal, when we spoke to him, is he said, I'd like to have 100 total new members in this membership. Plus, I have this desire that I want to create a bigger program that's really, serving people at the highest level for what we do in this education space. And it's going to be $100,000 a year. And it's going to be high touch, high personalization, high optimized experience, right? Really at the highest level. And he said, I'd love to think that we could, have a goal to get like 10, 12 people in the program. So we started working together. And maybe like you, we had a lot of assets, amazing reputation, awesome, solid business model. And then what we were able to do is just to link the assets in a chain, plus incorporate some of the things we're actually talking about here to create a client surge. And we went, oh, by the way, the other thing that was kind of limiting their growth is they only had about 39 people a year raising their hands saying, hey, I want to either look to attend this or to be a part of this program. 39 a year. So like, what's the maximum you could sell if you only have 39? Well, the maximum you could ever sell is 39. So we put the assets together in a certain way. We turned on the faucet and we started driving people into their world more. We brought more people to it and did a better job communicating with the ones that were there. So we went from 39 a year to 100 a month. Ultimately, it took time, obviously, to get there. It didn't happen overnight. It's, built up, but 100 a month reaching out to say, I want to participate in one of these 2 things. And their business went like this. And by the way, we didn't hit the goal of 100, I'm sad to say, with this particular client. Actually, We got to over 250. I think it was actually closer to 300 in our time that we worked together before our agreement ended. And also this particular event was selling out, and their maximum capacity at the time was about 100 new people besides their members, right? So that's what pulling all of this together can do. And it's not one or the other, it's and, right? So while you're watching this, I hope what you start to be thinking about is, no, I don't have to go into the discount game. I don't need to attract cheap Charlies in my business. I look to add value, create more value, 10 times the value. How do I do that? And you can ultimately, and every business is different, but give an example. My wife and I, a handful of months ago, depending on when you're seeing this, got an AC unit. And we got a situation where this was like $28,000 for the AC and multiple units for our home. Do you realize that we haven't heard from that service business besides email but one time since we got it? Now, what's wrong with that picture? But this is a lot of businesses. They get so busy trying to chase all these things, they don't stop and think, like, what else could I buy? Like, if they just ask me, like, I have multiple things like handyman stuff that I'd love to get done, out of the blue. If just someone showed up in service to say, hey, we could solve that for you. What else do you want? What else do you need? And even if they don't do it, they could partner with somebody who does. Hopefully you start to see the opportunity. And how do they make the value of, say, a $25,000 unit, which probably has a profit margin of somewhere in a 15% range, all in. And now they make us, closer to a $40,000 valuable client. Not just today, but over time. Like, could they have gotten us a maintenance program? Could they have gotten us air filters that, need to be changed and just come and do it for us and make it easy and make it simple? Could they, we have a pool, like all these different things that just, again, it may not be 100% directly to your business, because you might be in functional medicine, you might be a chiropractor, you might be a coach, you might be a consultant, you might be an educator. Ideally, start to think, oh, wow, what is the opportunity? What if I did create more value? What if I really focused on the problems we solved and figured out how we could just add more of a deluxe value, a deluxe experience, right? So all that being said, we helped them grow to about 250 plus members, 100 plus, and they started this $100,000 program. And I believe, and I might have the math just slightly off from specific details, but it was around 20 people. They did an application process, and they had like 60 or 70 people say, I want to, and they did a selection process and had 20 people get involved. Their business went like this. It grew to, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of, $10 million a year in growth. So what can you do to extend the value with your potential clients right now? What could you do to make that happen? And what could you do to build a suite of things over time? Right now, again, depending on the journey you're in, depending on where you're at. So keep this in mind. What I would encourage you to do is go, what could I offer that's more valuable, 10 times more valuable, and go up? And maybe it's only an extra few thousand on top of what you have as a service or in your market. Maybe it's doubling the pricing. Maybe it's tripling. We've got a client that literally took a traditional membership model like I just described, and he built it as an agreement or a contract over 3 years, and took the client value that was, 15, 20, 25,000 a year into 130,000 a year, right? Just by thinking bigger and doing different. And he wanted to serve people at a bigger level. Plus he knew that when he helped them, he could help them more by having it being a longer agreement versus something shorter term, which is best for the clients, right? Again, how do you show up to create the breakthrough, the outcome, the transformation, the experience with frequency and consistency, and then build a suite over time? Will you at some point maybe have lower priced products and services? Perhaps. But right now, here and now, is how do you go deeper with the clients who already love you, who already have appreciation, who have already respect with you, already have things, and you can open those other doors. And that's where some of the real profit leverage can be to maximize your growth. And again, it's not an either or. And once you get that rock solid, is then also look at what else can we offer that can bring more people in a profitable way to engage with us, to do business and want to be a part of our, ideally, you're on a mission. Ideally, it's bigger than just, I serve up glop, but ideally it's, you're on a mission in whatever industry or niche you're in. So there's a lot there. Ideally, the action steps you take, I'd encourage you. Number one, like, who are 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 potential current relationships, past relationships, clients that you can reach out to and go, hey, I'm thinking about, or I've got this. I'd love to find out what you're focused on right now as it relates to why, right? And then get into a conversation and ideally commit to help solve their problem. And if you can solve it, great. But here's the key. If you can't solve it, get them connected to a partner, a referrer. Create those strategic relationships. Number two, again, use the phone, use email, use text where you can. And all this is permission-based, by the way. And also, how can you start showing up more consistently to create value to your clients to solve more of their problems? And if you'd like to go deeper with any of this at all, I'd encourage you. We've got literally 30 plus years of doing this, helping over 5,000 founders, CEOs, maybe like you. And our new book is out on the market right here, right now, that you can go get it at breakthrough3x.com/fast. That's breakthrough3x.com/fast. And it's more than a book, by the way. It's a whole bundle of tools to help solve your problems related to hiring and selling and marketing and a whole lot more that come with it. So go to breakthrough3x.com/fast. You can get your hands on this. We'll get this out to you. And you'll get instant access to the tools that support it right away. And depending on the journey that we're in here, depending on where you're at in your journey of building a business, if you want to move from ideas with your growth and marketing and selling to execution and implementation, let's have a one-to-one conversation. We can go deeper, look at where you're at, where you want to go, all those sorts of things. And if you want to do that, where you could imagine having one-to-one help or a team of people that literally do this stuff for you, get it done, just make it happen. Go to breakthrough3x.com/apply, breakthrough3x.com/apply, and take the next steps. We can have a conversation, see if we're aligned for each other, and go from there. So there you have it. Take action, go out there, create a surge of new clients today. Doesn't matter where you're at, doesn't matter where you've been, it just matters where you want to go. And guess what? Now is the best time. Take advantage of it. See you soon.